Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Street Level Strategies. I am joined today by Abi Stevens, a division manager at Primary Residential Mortgage. How are you doing today, Abi?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited about this conversation. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Do you mind just doing a quick little intro for yourself and your business for the audience who's listening today?
Sure, of course. I'm Abi Stevens. I'm with Primary Residential Mortgage. I'm a division manager covering the state of Florida mainly, but I'm also licensed in Georgia, North Carolina, and Alabama. I am building teams at the moment in all of those states. And so if you're someone who actually wants to grind and learn how to do this very well and join a team in my region, go ahead and reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. Anyways, I've been in this business for 25 years. I absolutely love what I do. I don't have to work. I work because I absolutely love working, and especially in this capacity, helping people to realize the dream, the American dream of, buying your first home. Some people are buying their 15th home. Some people are investing in real estate, and I have a lot of background in all of those things. And so it is my joy to help people of all walks of life. I speak a few languages, so it's fun for me to assist people from all different places to become homeowners here in this country.
That's amazing. Yeah, in the little time that I've known you, Abi, you are just a powerhouse, and you truly do it because you love it and you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the people that you work with. And so that's something that I think anyone listening will get through this conversation. And you are living, as you mentioned, in Florida, which is a really interesting vibe of people. One of the things that you're mentioning was like you guys have very different types of homeowners that you're serving. You want to just expand a little on that?
Yeah, I will. And because it has changed its face quite a bit in the last, maybe let's say 10 years, but in particular, the last 5 years. In the past, decades ago, it was common that we were dealing with people coming here because they are retiring. Right. Your borrower 9 times out of 10 was retiring and needed advice to build wealth still while in retirement mode and to be able to afford a home while they're on a fixed income. So we have that demographic, and that's still true. And in fact, it's becoming more true that they buy a home before they retire as a second home, and they're doing both states. They're going back and forth. And then eventually at some point they become a full-time resident here. But in the last few years, because we have so many people that are ubiquitous workers that are working from home and can work remotely of all ages, they are coming here in droves from other places just for that reason, the ubiquitous worker. But we also have this person who is just tired of their state. It's almost, I hate to mention it, but it is almost a political move, to get themselves into the state of Florida. So they're doing that and then shifting their work to become a remote worker so they can still hold their position and work in Florida from their home office, some of them traveling back to their corporate offices when needed. But the amount of people coming here for ubiquitous work is lately exceeding those people that are coming for retirement, which is a total shift in this market here.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the different types of people and how that has changed over the years, because that is something that, especially as that I've been in the industry, and you always hear of Florida as the retirement, right? And that's still a huge population, but you're also seeing, it's interesting, you're seeing the different demographics, different types of movers right now, right? Over the past couple of years, which has been really interesting. So in that similar regard, I'd love to just hear over the past, maybe, I know it's been a few years, but maybe over the past year, how has your mindset shifted and what are you really focused on right now from a sales strategy?
Well, my mindset has shifted in this way. In the past, before mortgages, and actually several times in my lifetime while doing mortgages, I've been an educator. I was a teacher. I taught grades from first grade all the way to adult learners of other languages. Yeah. And so my mindset in this industry has been, I am more a consultant and teacher than I am selling mortgages. I just can't remember the last time I felt like I was selling a mortgage. I am educating borrowers and educating the general public about this transaction. And I am assisting loan officers to become better loan officers by coming from a place of education rather than a place of selling. So I think that touches on what your question was, is
Yeah.
that my mindset is now to educate. Because listen, a person buys a house an average of 10 times throughout their lifetime. And our buyers are younger and younger. I have buyers that are 21 years old buying homes. And they're buying homes while they're still in college because they've gotten intelligent enough to realize that they could use their income and they could use a non-occupying co-borrower, let's say, in the background of their file, a parent, someone in the family. I've seen people buying FHA loans where their bosses are signing for them to be able to move, to be in this state or whatever. So, the more you educate, the more loans can be written that are good loans for people to build their life and to begin learning how to build wealth. So again, the mindset is about helping the general public understand what it is to apply for a loan, what it is to have a mortgage, and what it is to be smart about the mortgage you have so you can build wealth throughout your lifetime over the decades of your life. When a person looks back, they're like, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, and the houses that I bought and sold over the period of time. So that is my mindset. It is the mindset that I teach all the people in my team. And then all the loan officers that I want to bring under my wing, all they've got to have is drive and grit and a license. I will teach them how to do this the right way for the long haul. If there's a loan officer out there that's just like, I think I'm going to do this and I'm going to make some money, I'm going to get out of here. Yep. I am not the right manager for you.
No.
And so I did a lot of training, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Rick Ruby and there are all types of trainings out there. And I've been to pretty much all of it, but I like the Rick Ruby playbook. I really like the way he's doing the core. It's been decades. He doesn't really change what he taught. And my teaching is a spinoff of many of the lessons that I think that whole group was teaching is kind of how I think. I'm probably a little less pushy and salesy than that. I'm more education oriented and staying in touch. I stay so close to my borrowers and my clients over time. I'll give you a story if it'll be fun for you.
Please.
I have right now, people are out looking at refinances. They're concerned about, getting out of the last 3 years. They were closing loans. Perfect credit, 20% down, still paying 7.75. So they're seeing some better rates. And I project, and, the market is projecting, it's going to look a lot better here in the next year or so. So with that in mind, a lot of clients are, wanting information. And I find that I don't do a lot of pushy. I love Total Expert, and we'll get into that for this reason. I can pick and choose how I want to connect with my clients and past borrowers as well as current borrowers. And I want to do it in a way that's good for them. And everyone's a little different. When you know your client base very well, you know how many emails you think they can handle over a year, right? When they want to hear from you and what they want to hear from you when they do hear from you. So I don't do a ton of push marketing. No one likes that. I had a client call me just today, and she said, hey, I'm calling you 3 years ago. You did a loan for us. You were so helpful. I was so grateful. I'm glad I saved your information and that you're actually still at this phone number. I had someone call me from what they called your team, a company that I was at in the past, used my name and reached out to her and made her believe that I was trying to push her to refinance her home. Yeah. And it wasn't me. And I said, I'm glad you wrote me. I'm really sorry that happened to you. It was not me who contacted you, but I'm happy to look at anything. If you think that that's going to be advantageous for you, I'm happy to look at it. She goes, well, we're moving in a year. And, it's just not in her best interest to refinance right now. It just isn't. And so when I had that conversation with her, I just said, of course, that is completely up to you. Who you use to do it is also completely up to you. But let me give you the nuts and bolts and teach you what I would be thinking if I were on the receiving end of this communication. So you see, that relationship, although it was short-lived, I just got to know her well enough, helped her through a bumpy situation. It was like some, personal situation. And I found out what was going on there, set her up for months. This is another mindset change for mortgage lenders. If you know your client base very well, it's likely that you're talking to them for months before they transact. Right. So I'm not the, jump in, get something done and leave them. They know that I'm their loan officer for life, but I'm actually their friend. I am truly their friend. Yeah. And so she knew I was her friend, and she knew she should reach out to me directly when she heard my name, and it wasn't me. And so she said, thank you so much. In a year or so when I do move, because I'm planning on moving, I'll call you for my mortgage. Boom. See, so did I market her to death? No. All I did was cared about her at that moment, and now I stayed in touch with her in a very, acceptable way. And
Yeah.
she knew how to reach me because of that.
Yeah. What's interesting is, I mean, that's one of the things that especially at Total Expert, we like to talk about, because what you just explained was that you, as the originator, you cared deeply about this person, and that's just who you are, right? But you educated this person to the point where they trusted you, right? So when they want to come back for that next financial transaction, or they're reaching out to you, they trust that you have their best interest in mind, and that you are not feeding them full of crap, and you're actually providing them with education to where they know, okay, now down the road when this happens, like they probably never had understood that, but that you actually took the time to give them that education and understand, so that they will come back to you on that next 2, 3, 4 transactions, which, as an originator, I mean, you're playing, in my opinion, hearing from you, is you're playing the long game as building those friendships. Yeah. You're playing the long game for those multiple
as we all should in this career. This is a career. This isn't a job. This is my calling. I believe it. I was always, when I was young, I knew I was supposed to be a teacher. I had no idea it was going to be teaching this, but I absolutely, I treat my clients as I always I treated my students. So they are students of, listen, when you do a loan, if you've done it 10 times in your lifetime and now you're older, I just have a guy right now, I'm dealing with him getting a loan application. He said, just today I did a consult with his daughter and his wife. He's going to co-sign for his daughter to get her out of a situation and buy a home. And he said, well, I've done this 4 times in my life, but I've forgotten everything. And I think things change. Yeah. And that is a fact. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be this other gentleman who's just sitting there chomping at the bit to refinance a $3 million condo. Yeah. He's got, I don't know, you got like 35 structures that he owns, whether they're condos or buildings or homes. And even he is saying, what's going on now? It's been a year later. It is my job to stay abreast of all of the economic situations, the actual market in my markets that I work, and to be able to be the authority for them, because they have lives, others, besides mortgages. They're not looking at these numbers all day. And, if you're doing this job right, you're educating yourself every day. And my team knows you're not on my team unless you're educating yourself every day.
You're an expert.
Right.
Yeah. We're not in this life. If you're not in it, you don't know what's happening, and things are literally changing by the second. And so we need to have an expert. And I love that. I think you said it earlier, you're their lender for life, right? Or you're their loan officer for life. And that's the truth, is that they could trust you, that and you're staying on top of it. Just like if we were in the expert of, whatever else we're doing, you would go to them because they are the trusted person, right? So
it's a lot like a lawyer. I got to know all the guidelines. I've got to know all the changes. I got to know the federal government. I better know what I'm talking about. I better be the authority, or else don't call me.
For sure.
Yeah. So I thought of something, but it has slipped my mind now, but I wanted to say something about that, because that part of it is so important. Is like, I really don't even want to talk to someone unless they want to be educated.
Yeah. Yeah. Want to learn,
because they'll probably make an error. They're going to make a big monetary mistake, and I don't want it to be my fault.
For sure. One of the other things, Abby, that I'd love for you to dive into is your referral partner strategy, and how you nurture those relationships with your agents, because I think that you have a very interesting process in terms of how you kind of manage your agent partnerships. And so if you don't mind just talking a little bit about what does that strategy look like, and then where does Total Expert kind of fit into that strategy? I know, you get together with your agents constantly. You're constantly trying to see who and what agents really are going to be, as dedicated as you are, right, and meet you on that level. So to really create that prime partnership. So would you mind just talking a little bit about what your referral partner strategy is these days?
Yeah, I will. I would love to, because I love it. And that's exactly why I want to build a team, because I want to teach other loan officers, especially young loan officers that don't have bad habits that I would need to break, ones that just need to learn the good habits. These habits are what I did is I put in place after leaving teaching full time, and I decided I'm going to go into the mortgage industry here in Florida. I started in Atlanta doing mortgages, and I thought, I think I'm going to stop teaching in Florida, and I'm going to go into mortgages here in Florida. That means, for those of you who don't know, I am just like you, just starting brand new, not knowing anyone. I didn't know one realtor. This was in 2020. I decided to go full time here in Florida after I was teaching. And I thought, oh boy, I'm going to have to go and get to know a bunch of real estate agents. Oh boy. So really it is just, I hate to be so cliche, but it is, you have to liken it to almost like dating.
Seriously.
Just let me explain. So when you're dating, let's say you want to go on a date, let's say you joined a dating app or whatever you did, and you're now meeting just different people. You're like, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting to find realtors who are like you.
Yeah.
You know, people buy from people that they like, and people use people that they like. And I personally don't want to serve those people that I serve unless I like them. So you have to come into it with that mindset, because I work for my realtors as if I was working for my husband or my kids. They know it. They know that they can write me at 10 o'clock at night in the middle of typing up a contract and they don't know what to put in a box. They know they can call me and ask me what I think about that box. They can't call many other people at 10 o'clock at night, and they know I'll get it. At midnight, maybe I'm sleeping. Same in the morning. I get up very early. I am ready to help them because they could be also trying to meet a client at 9 a.m., but they've got to get a contract out before that. Whatever it is, it could be they don't know how to explain to this borrower why they need an FHA loan versus a conventional loan, or flip-flop it, whatever it is. And they need me to get on the phone. They know they can conference me in on that phone call, and I will handle it just how I mirror them is what I do. That's a big sales background thing that I learned. Pharmaceutical rep. I sold boxes when I was very young, all kinds of things. So, but it is just, think of it like sales mirroring. But not only am I mirroring them, it's easy to mirror them because I handpicked them. So I already know that I'm a lot like them. I meet with them for breakfast. This is one of the big things that I do. I call it my way of disqualifying. They can disqualify me and I can disqualify them. So if I'm in the middle of a breakfast with them and they are talking about some, questionable practices that they do in their business, then I shake their hand, pay for their breakfast, and thank them for their time. I don't get into how I can help them because I don't want to help them.
Yeah.
I don't want to help them do backward, strange things, because that to me means they're a flash in the pan and they are not in this game for the long haul. So they're out. And, if you're a loan officer who wants to be trained by someone like me, and if you're one of those, don't even bother. So I kick in with the intuitive response, just as I expect them to do the same to me. I expect them to feel me out just like dating and see if they like me, to see if they are, going to be in line with me. And if they are, then we're probably going to do very well together. And we're going to be really proud of the product that we end up with when we're done.
Yeah.
So now let's say that it went well. They're like, oh, all right, we jibe. We like each other. This is going to be great. Then I start saying nothing. I just zip it. And I listen.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're doing. What is your goal? Where are you going? How are you going to get there? And how can my team help you? Because I have resources galore. What is it that you need and how do you work? If they are someone who works in a way that is very one-on-one, well, then I will assign someone in my team to be available one-on-one to them, or I will try to do it myself. It'll depend obviously on their, proximity and things like that. If they require me to show up in their office and talk to their clients face to face, because let's face it, what if it's a $4 million condo buyers? What if that's all they do? Well, that $4 million condo buyer kind of requires me to physically show up there. At that moment, I have to decide, do I want to commit to that? Yes or no? And I'll tell them right then and there, I don't want to commit to that. So I'm not going to, sorry. But I do know a loan officer that's wonderful, that has the capacity for that. Why don't you call them? And you'll like them too. This kind of thing. So it's genuine, it's authentic, it's real. And when they make that connection, while I'm there, I might sound like I'm pretty relaxed, but I am not. I am sitting there with a book. I have my total expert paperwork that I'm going to show them. I'm going to talk about exactly how I need them to respond to my team when we reach out. I'll say things like, when my team reaches out and says, we need your headshot and your logo, I need you to do it. When they say, click the box that says that I can change your profile for you, do that. Because if you don't do that, we're just going to be stuck in a quagmire. Your profile's not going to be complete. I'm not going to be able to assist you fully. You're not going to connect your, MLS service. So I can't see your listings. How could I be of service? I can't. Yeah. Also, that I pay for the whole thing. Like my branch is paying for that. When, it's another thing I don't do. I don't do backward, weird things. Like they're like, oh, if you're going to pay me, my team, goodbye. I'm going to pay for everything that I do for you, and I'm going to cover the cost of printing these things. I'm going to bring these flyers to you. I'm going to deliver them. If I have to have my teammate there, we will be there. If I have to physically show up, I'll be there. Yes, maybe if someone does, a grand opening, someone does a broker open, of course, that's part of the business. But if they start asking you to do strange things, like, can you pay for my whole team to be trained and stuff like that? No, because that is a RESPA violation. I'm not doing that. Right. So you have to know your limits, and you have to share your limits right then and there while you're talking. So they know what to expect from you. So now when I've connected and it's been great, we walk away totally stoked. Then, of course, I follow up. I personally follow up. I loved our meeting. This is what I heard from you, because I was listening. I wasn't talking. I was listening to them. Then I wrote it all down, and I used, did I show this to you? This thing is great. If those of you don't have this, get it. It's it's fantastic. It's literally remarkable. It's named perfectly. See how skinny it is? Can you see that? This tiny little book. Yeah. It is a digital remarkable, and it is fantastic. I have folders for every single realtor that I work with in here. It has a pen. It erases, it writes and erases. It is on Linux, so it goes forever. You can charge this thing, and it'll be good for 3 weeks. You never have to charge it. You can write your notes right to your team, so everyone knows what just happened at that meeting, that important meeting with that realtor that I want to work on. They know now what to do. Before I even get back to the office, they're already setting up a profile, getting their total expert going. So this remarkable notebook has been fantastic. And by the way, I've been using it for 4 years or more. I was one of the early adopters of this remarkable, and I still use it. When they got the new one, I upgraded it, and all of the remarkable online stuff I had went right to the new book. I passed my old book down to my daughter, who's a piano instructor. She cleared it and is able to use it. It still works perfectly. Amazing. Anyway, okay, that's my plug on the remarkable.
No, it's amazing. What we're hearing is that you are serious. Like, when you get down to business, you're serious, and that
very serious.
Is something that I appreciate. Like, just to recap for those is like, you are getting in front of your agents. You're scheduling these breakfast meetings. You are having time with them. You are listening. And then you're also saying, is this a good fit for me as well? Like, we are almost like, hey, we're dating right now. We're figuring out if this works. And if you're like, yep, this is a good fit, you literally are opening up your remarkable, where you've got folders where you're saying, hey, this is what we can offer you, but you're also creating accountability. That's something that I heard that's really important, is like, if I'm and my team is putting in this much effort, you also need to be in this game with me. And we're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to get you a co-marketing profile. We're going to get you linked up in Total Expert, and my team is going to help support you. But you're also creating that accountability by, honestly, just your demeanor and how you approach these. And you're not just willing to take whoever, right? You want the best, best. And so by doing that, you create that accountability in Total Expert. And honestly, I'll do a plug for you, is you have probably one of the best. You have a lot. I think probably you had over 100 co-marketing connections in Total Expert, and your team is truly on top of it, getting those agents in the system, every one of your powerful agents in the platform, and you're able to spin up co-marketing resources for these agents. Do you mind just talking a little bit? Yeah. Do you mind just talking
quickly, and without them having to tell me they have a listing? That's the beauty of it. Total Expert warns me in advance. It's like, I actually one time tried to figure out exactly how much time is between the time that they listed on MLS and the time that Total Expert tells me. It's fantastic. We need that information, because the moment I know that, I've got a team that I train that says, as soon as you see that Total Expert email that says they have a listing, I expect you to create a flyer. Don't even ask them if they want it. Create it in PDF. It doesn't cost you a dime. We already pay for this. Send it to them and say, hey, if you'd like me to print these and show up at your open house, I'm willing to do that. And my team does do it. Prints it, sends it to the printer, picks it up at the printer, and delivers it right to the open house. That is enough. You don't need to do much else. Yeah. Because listen, in the flyer, it's not just what they can create. I want to say this out loud, because a lot of loan officers, I don't think, understand what happens. I don't care who they work for, if they're Keller Williams, if they're Premier Sotheby's, it doesn't matter. All of those organizations have systems that provide the real estate agent the ability to create flyers, but I'm telling you that they don't want to do that. They don't want to learn it, and they don't want to train on it when they change things, and they don't want to do it. Also, realtors don't want to hire assistants to do it, because that's just more work. Right. Not only that, they don't ever provide a flyer that shows what the total payment might be for that house. Let me repeat that, because that is the crux of the whole thing. Yeah. The crux of the whole thing is they're going to get a flyer with their own verbiage from their own MLS. So I already know that it's what they want because they wrote it. Also, it's the photographs that they wanted because they had a photographer take them. What is different is that we have mortgage options. So my team knows that if it is over, 900 something thousand and that loan amount is going to be over 806,500, whatever our number is, then you're going to need to provide conventional. And I never forget to provide VA total payments.
Yep.
So they see conventional, they'll see FHA if it's under that limit, and then they'll see VA options, which are 0% down. If it's in a rural area, I tell my team to look to see if that's a rural area. If it is, provide USDA total payment. So now the realtor has a weapon. They have a flyer they didn't have to create. They have mortgage options and total payment options that they can show with live rates, by the way. Total Experts pulling in my live rates. Yay, thank you.
Right.
It's a one-stop shop. I used to use list reports. I used to use Rate Plug. I used to use all of them. I would use them for different reasons. Total Expert has cut them out. I don't need them anymore. I just use Total Expert. And here's the best part of Total Expert. When I am unhappy about something's not working the way, because you know what? Guess what, you guys? Software all have bugs. They have bugs. And when I can tell that it's a bug that's going on with any software, I usually am someone, because I used to work in software, I send an email and say, hey, you guys might have a bug. And they will actually fix it.
We will.
I've been the reporter of bugs for software forever. Total Expert actually, not only will they fix it, they'll ask me about it. They'll say, can you tell us exactly? Yes, I took screenshots. I'll show it to you.
I mean, we don't succeed if our originators don't succeed. So we're making sure that it's working for the originators.
I can see that. And I know that that's happening. So I can say it out loud that is helpful to me, because when something's happening and it's not working, it's really frustrating, because you're just trying to meet the need of a real estate agent. You don't want, our whole job is to make that real estate agent feel like they're the only real estate agent that we work with, and that they are just as important to us as our own family is.
Yeah,
and that's why Total Expert is the go-to place, because it has all of that. I didn't even get into the part where when I'm listening to them, I'm asking them, who is your main, because a lot of them have a main focus. Like I'm, as a division manager, as a loan originator, even back then, I was heavy on conventional loans. I'm a data person. At the end of the year, I was studying how many clients were in this range? How many clients were of this age group? How many clients were moving from somewhere else? What was the loan amount? What was the program that they chose? Why did they choose it? So I figured out that I'm heavy conventional, also heavy jumbo. So when I knew that, I didn't spend as much time like creating materials for FHA and VA, although I know them, and I have people in my team that I know that are great at this, and I want them to spend, because that's a lot more education.
Right.
And so anyways, when I'm talking to that realtor, a lot of times I'm asking, what's your goal? Like, and here's another thing, if they don't have a goal, I start telling them how to create the goals.
Yeah.
I'll show them exactly how I write out my goals. Now I've learned, I'm the strange one where I have lots of children, and my kids are all 7 years apart. So I have 4 kids 7 years apart.
That's crazy.
So I've been parenting every decade. So each of my kids has knowledge. I don't know if you're familiar with Moore's Law, but if you're not, look it up. Moore's Law is basically dictating to us that things are changing at an exponential rate every year of our lives. So I'm pretty old. I'm way older than you think. And so my kids are telling me right now, my 17-year-old, he's able to tell me things that change the time I spent on a task. I would spend this much time, and now I'm spending this much time on it. And so we as loan officers and all real estate people, you'd be shocked how many big producing real estate agents don't really have a plan for writing their goals. So this year I learned to make visual goals. I learned to write my goals like I've always done, get very detailed with a target in mind, right? Down to a number. But then I plug that into an AI generator that does my own GPT that gives me a picture literally of myself already realizing that goal. I'll give you an example. I'm a tennis player. I'm working heavy on my singles game. So one of my visual goals is me standing in front of a scoreboard where the coach is like nitpicking my numbers on how often I get my shots in. It's a visual, and I posted on my LinkedIn, and I tagged that page. You know how you can, I don't know if you know, you can do this. In LinkedIn, you can pin a page, and in Facebook, you can pin your page. I pinned those goals, visual goals, on both my Facebook and my LinkedIn, 10 of them. So now every time all year long that I go to my LinkedIn or my Facebook, the first thing I see is a visualization of all those goals. So I'm checking them. You know how people are like, be responsible, and you have to go back and look and to see, did you actually meet those goals? I used to check every quarter, but now I check almost every day, because if I have to go to LinkedIn, I see it. And I go, have I done those? And by the way, it's, what is it? July? Is it July? It's July. And I have literally nailed half of those goals already. I think that that's the fastest I've ever made my goals. And I swear to you, is because of this visual representation of the goal. Anyway, if you're not doing that, do that.
No, I love it. I love that you're even teaching agents to do that, which is powerful.
Yeah. Teach the agent. If I say, what are your goals? I expect them to say, I'm trying to hit 14 million on buy side transactions. And if they don't tell me something very specific like that, then the whole conversation switches, and we have another meeting.
Yeah.
We're going to lunch it.
Yep.
And we're going to lunch it with some goals in mind.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Abby, you're truly like one of a kind powerhouse originator. It's been such a great time, literally just getting to hear from you. Also, I love all the metaphors, and you can tell you have that education background and how you explain things, which I think is super powerful. But again, thank you so much. If you were to kind of sum it up and say, if I'm an originator right now, maybe 2 to 3 things that they can be doing right now, and I can probably sum up just from this conversation, but I'd love to hear from you. 2 to 3 things that they should be doing right now and focusing on.
Utilize whatever software your company provides you, where you can search up real estate numbers and find the buy side agents, because of that NAR settlement, they are struggling and they need some life pumped into them.
Yep.
Listing agents are not going to be able to cover their job. And, that NAR settlement, everyone made a big deal about it. But frankly, it's just now something that's negotiated up front with that listing side. How much do you want to pay the buyer's agent? And they're doing that. So that's like, it's like a non-negotiable now. You don't need to worry about it, but still focus on that buy side agent. Find out what their revenue is, and don't go after the big dogs. Go after the mid dogs. I always say, go after the mid dogs. Go after the people that, I don't know what your numbers are, but mine are 10 to 15, 10 to 20 million. Those people who is doing 10 to 15 million, 10 to 20 million a year, who would like to grow. That's who I'm after. And I specifically go after them. Now, if you're brand new to the industry, if I was brand new, I would go after 1 million to 5 million people, because they don't have the whole world calling them saying, hey, I want to do your loans. Find them, care about them, learn about them, do a good job for them, be family member to them, make sure they're, on the same morality code as you are.
Yep.
and start caring about them for the long haul. And then incorporate all the things. I don't know what I use MTA Go. There's something called MMI. There's something called Golden Goose, Silver Swan. There are all kinds of things. MTA Go is the best to me. It has an app. So at any moment I can look up an agent's, I have agents call me now. They call me and go, hey, I'd like to maybe partner up with you. You could be the mortgage side of my business. First thing I do is look them up.
Yep.
They're Joe Schmo. He has sold zero. He sold zero. Well, I'm not going to talk to him. No, I won't send him out, but I will talk to a loan officer that I've hired that's new and say, hey, why don't you go and meet with him and find out, does he have grit? Does he just need help learning how to go to market? If he does, partner up with him, and then he'll grow and you'll grow with him. Anyways, and so, those are the 3 things. And then stick with one thing, just like I do with my realtor. I stick with my realtor. I also stick with whatever I'm using if it's working. Total Expert works, and I've been using it like gangbusters since 2020. Yeah.
I love
and
it.
I'm not going to change it because it works.
Yeah, that's great. Abby, thank you so much for this conversation. You are one of a kind. I keep saying that, but truly, thank you so much for this conversation. I hope we can get you on another time too, just to talk a little bit. I know you're building out your team right now, so I'd love to also hear how you incorporate, automation and other pieces of the platform right now. I know heavily, you're working on the agent side of things, and that's working, and I love that. But I hope we can also keep iterating and maybe have you back for another conversation. So again,
absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for inviting me, Bobbi Jo. It's been fun.
Of course.
Peace.